Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Ann Duffy. I'm the class of 2010, and I'm the current Alumni Relations Coordinator. At this moment, students, you may have no idea who I am, but you do know my mom, or have had my mom, Mrs. Duffy, for theology, or you might know... Or you might know my sister, Molly Duffy, a current sophomore. You may be thinking, why is she talking to us? We aren't even alums yet, which would be a fair point. I'm here for the occasion behind the announcements you've heard this week, the pictures you've seen hanging in the quad, and the purpose for this assembly. Today marks the start of Alumnae Weekend, a weekend in which we celebrate and welcome back alumni of Holy Angels Academy, Divine Savior High School, and DSHEA. This weekend is about alumni reconnecting with each other and their alma mater. It is also a time they come back and visit you, the current students, and share where their lives have taken them after their high school experiences. They too were once sitting in your seats, and momentarily you will get to hear from an alumna about her life post-DSHEA. Before we begin, I'd like to extend a special welcome to our Alumnae of the Year. They are the individuals whose photos are hanging in the quad and also in the R.J. Friedel Commons on the Alumnae Wall of Distinction. Our Alumna of the Year is Sue Resch Evans, Divine Savior Class of 1969, and our Jubilarian of the Year is Mary Pat Klein Pfeil, Divine Savior Class of 1966. Please give them a warm welcome. Sue and Mary Pat spoke to some classes this morning, and after this assembly, we'll be speaking to more classes about their work and where life led them after Divine Savior. Now I'd like to introduce you to our young alumna of the year, Elizabeth Reese, DSHEA class of 2002. Elizabeth is the founder of Chasing Paper, a stylish removable wallpaper company. As third generation in her family's printing company, Elizabeth grew up learning the ins and outs of ink, paper, and patterns. With the belief that printing is not only a family tradition, but also a craft, Elizabeth carved out her own path in paper by developing a line of innovative, design-conscious, removable wallpaper. Elizabeth cultivated her entrepreneurial spirit over the past 10 years of work, study, and travel. Moving several times during this period also created an excitement to decorate and make each new space she lived in her own. After countless conversations with serial movers, stylish mamas, renters who feel like anything but do-it-yourselfers, and of course, commitment phobes, the idea for Chasing Paper took off, and Elizabeth formally launched the company in March 2013. With the philosophy that design is for everyone, Chasing Paper also offers customers an affordable, fun way to transform spaces of all sizes. Elizabeth holds a BA in journalism from Indiana University and a master's from the American University of Paris. Prior to launching Chasing Paper, Elizabeth worked at the National Geographic Society. Chasing Paper is based in New York, where Elizabeth resides. Throughout the next half hour or so, we'll hear questions prepared by your classmate, DSHEA senior Lily Pickart, with an opportunity for some Q&A from students afterward. Without further ado, I hand the spotlight over to Senior Lily Pickart and Young Alumna of the Year, Elizabeth Reese.
So, hi Elizabeth, how are you?
I am great. Thank you. It's always kind of embarrassing to have someone talking about you like in front of you. It makes me a little nervous, but glad to be here.
That's awesome. So we just had we had a lunch and we just had City Market. And
delicious.
Yes, it was. I had pasta bianca. It was my go-to.
I was a little jealous of your order. I think you ordered great.
You could have taken some.
I thought about it.
So we were talking a little bit, and I'd called you last week.
You sure did.
We were chatting, and I'd called you. I interrupted a photo shoot,
Yes.
And is that like, I'm so sorry.
I mean,
I just want to put it out.
it's the day in the life, so yeah.
Yeah.
That
so,
literally never happens. So
Oh
I just
my-
want to
okay.
preface that with, I
Oh.
was on a photo shoot, but it's not my daily occurrence.
I was gonna ask, like, what is what's the typical run-of-the-mill, like, what happens at Chasing Paper on a typical day?
Great question. I would say typically, like, my morning is spent going to the office. I live in Brooklyn, ride my bike into the city. Ooh, we got some bike riders here. Okay, you guys are into it. I love it. My office is in Soho. I usually spend the morning answering customer emails. Customer service and writing to each of my customers has been a really big part of growing Chasing Paper. Still, even 3.5 years in, I answer every single customer email myself, which is insane. But I like to do it because it really allows me to understand, like, what, if they're having an issue, like, what is that issue? How do we troubleshoot? How do we problem solve? And so I spend the morning usually doing that. And then usually the afternoon is like calls and meetings, running around the city. And probably once a month we do have a big photo shoot for Chasing Paper, where we rent out a huge space, we wallpaper literally every surface, we bring in a photographer and stylists, and we make magic, which it's really like the most amazing couple days every month for me. It's super creative, it's really fun, and it's also great to see the prints that you've been working on come to life in this space. We have a big monitor, so as soon as the pictures are taken, we can see them on the screen, and it gets me so excited. It gives me like the best energy and excitement, and you can see just from like this one, these two are from those shoots, so it's exciting. That one obviously is not, but yeah. So, and we work with editors a lot. So from a lot of the big magazines like an Elle Decor or Real Simple, they're constantly asking for things. So getting them samples, figuring out what they need, working on new collections. So yeah.
That's awesome.
It is.
Oh
There's
my
there's
God.
no 2 days that are the same. That's for sure. That's for sure.
I just wanted to put out there that if you are in need of any help, or if there's a position open, my bags are packed.
All right. I'm gonna talk to your mom after.
I already checked
Is that
with her.
okay?
Sorry.
She's gonna come to New York?
That's not child.
She says no. No,
Okay.
not having.
So I just wanted to throw it back a little bit. And I was wondering, what grade school did you go to?
I went to St. Monica's. Yeah! Oh my gosh, St. Monica! Yeah, I grew up in Whitefish Bay. Anyone from Whitefish Bay? Yeah, all right.
That's so cool. Did you take any art classes like from a young age or in high school?
I would probably say no. I mean, this may or may not be a shock, but I have 3 sisters. I mean, when they called me to be like, "You're Alumna of the Year," I was like, "Say what?" Because I was honestly like I loved to like socialize. I came to school to like see my friends, and I had no real like direction. I wasn't like, you know, some people I knew at this age were like, I'm going to be a doctor, and they're now doctors, you know, or I want to be, like, they had these razor sharp ideas of what they wanted to be and what their interests were, and I didn't necessarily have that. I was always attuned and like loved being creative. I took photography, I took design here at DS, but it wasn't something that I was like, if I don't do something in this field, I'll die and I have to do it. I was just really kind of more of, I wanted to live my life, see where things took me. I was a little bit of a, I mean, my poor mom, she still worries about me, but.
That's awesome. And not that we are affiliated with them, but what are your thoughts on Marquette Boys?
I mean, you guys, you tell me, I don't know. I mean, good luck to you guys. Maybe it gets better. Maybe it gets better. Maybe that's it.
Okay, that's good. That gives me hope. I'm so sorry. My younger brother's in the audience, and he goes to Marquette. No offense, Max. This is not about you. Okay. So, what was your experience at DSHEA like?
I mean, it was really, hopefully the same experience you guys are having. It was lifelong friends. Two of my best and closest girlfriends are coming to the little ceremony tonight. They're girls that I've really, now we're in our 30s, and so much happens in that chunk of life from when you graduate high school till, you start having families and kids and running businesses and, doing all these kinds of things. And it's been amazing to have those bonds really throughout. And it was a fantastic experience. I'm sure, like so many of you girls, being the funniest girl in class is awesome. Being the smartest girl in class, and it allows that. I think roles that sometimes can be typically taken over in a co-ed situation allows women to shine, girls to shine. I also think, for me at least, I've been really, really fortunate to have some amazing women bosses and role models and mentors throughout my career. And I think that I seek them out because of this situation. And I'm also like the first one, like, you graduate, you call me, I will give you a hand up. Like, you come to New York, I will help you out. Like, I am into helping. Yeah, we're going to talk after this. I feel like we're already soul sisters, so I'm into it. But I really have a deep want to help other young women get where they're going, just because I really felt like all along the way, have had really phenomenal women who have said, let's sort it out, let me help you out, let me figure it out. So
that's awesome, and I'm very glad you say that, because I am coming to New York.
Great,
So
awesome. Let's do it.
Okay. How did you get into this work? Oh, and this is a pleasure.
It's like some awkward. So, as Anne mentioned, I'm third generation in my family's printing company. All growing up, probably literally until maybe 5 or 6 years ago, when someone would have asked, like, what does your dad do? I would have been like, like paper or something. I didn't really know. I wasn't really engaged in it. I never really knew or felt connected to it in any way. But I was living overseas. I was living in Paris, and my dad came to visit, and we were just talking about different things within his business, and I was getting my master's, so I was thinking a lot about like branding and design and how you tell a company story. And he said, would there be any way that you'd want to maybe help our family business? And I was just like, no. It didn't seem sexy. It didn't seem, I was living in Paris, for Christ's sake. I was like literally drinking red wine, eating baguette every day. Like, my life felt so romantic. And I was just like, I'm not going to move home to Wisconsin to work at like a paper factory, because that's literally what I thought my dad did. And it just didn't resonate with me. But after a while, I said, well, maybe I'll take on redesigning the website, because that felt like something I could do. I was moving to New York. I could do it from New York. And in that process of sort of helping to redesign things, I had to learn about the business, which to my surprise was actually like incredibly interesting. And interesting in the sense that I was living in New York at the time, I still am, and a lot of stories and companies were really telling the story about like how things were made, like what's the process. You have companies now that will tell you like the fabric is from Ecuador and this is from, and they tell you those stories. So I thought it was really interesting about the process of printing. Anyway, but I wasn't interested in doing it maybe in the traditional sense. So about 3.5 years or maybe 4 years ago at this time, do anybody know the company called Birchbox? Great, I'm so glad. So Katya, who's the founder of Birchbox, is a friend of mine, and before Birchbox got humongous, now it's like truly hundreds of millions of dollars. They were in a transitional work or office in New York, and they were having editors and people come by all the time. They wanted the space to look great, but they weren't going to stay there forever. They were building out another office a little further uptown. So we created these wraps for these support beams in the office because they were super ugly. It made the environment look really sterile and just not very welcoming. And their brand is super fun. It's about like trying things and experience and makeup. So it was fun. So we wrapped these support beams in these like hot pink birch tree that was like hand drawn and super cool. We installed them on like a Friday, and by Tuesday I had probably 10 emails from different girls who worked at Birchbox being like, where can I buy this? I want this for my house. And when I started doing the research, there really wasn't anything in the removable space that would allow you to customize your space. I knew that wallpaper was coming back, and every cool restaurant in New York, the bathroom will be wallpapered. If it's not wallpapered, get out of there. And I was seeing it more and more at places that I felt were really on the pulse. They knew what was going on. And so it started really from that. I started chasing paper with like $5,000 to build a website, to do a photo shoot, and to create like 25 prints. I was in Milwaukee on a Tuesday when I hit like publish, so like the website was out there, like 7 people knew about it, like my mom, my dad, like my sisters, like, I don't know, my dog. I mean, it was just really like no one. But the thing that I did that night was I wrote an email, a very personal email, but it was short, about just kind of what I had done, what chasing paper meant to me, what I thought it could be. And I emailed it to maybe 50, mostly women, of my closest friends and family. Just saying, like, if you want to forward this on, if you think the website's cool, please do so. I flew back to New York on that Tuesday, woke up on Wednesday morning, and woke up and there's a thing that tells you how much traffic, and I had like 12,000 people on the site. And I was like, oh my God, there's some sort of mistake. Like, what did I do? Or like, I don't know, my mind went in weird places. Well, somebody had forwarded it to a big design blog called Design Sponge. I don't know if you guys are familiar, but at the time, it was kind of like the biggest one. And the headline was, finally, there's cute removable wallpaper. And from then, I was like, this is something. And the ball's just been rolling ever since. So that's how we got our start.
Oh my gosh. I'm like now really starstruck. I don't know, but I'm sweating. So how did you, on this amazing path, how did DSHEA help you get started on it? And how did you choose your career path?
Again, I mean, I think really what DSHEA gave me was a confidence in myself. Again, like I said, I wasn't driven in one thing where I was like, I know I need to go to college and I need to have this job and I need to do this thing. I really felt a sense of that I could do things on my own, that I didn't need any kind of like outside. Obviously, you always need help and support of your family and your friends, but I just felt a great sense of independence going to school here, and I hope that you guys all feel that way too. I also felt like there really wasn't anything I couldn't do. I met with a freshman class this morning who were so sweet because I was so nervous to talk to you guys. I don't know if you were in the audience, but I was really nervous. And you know, like at 14 years old, it's like there's so much ahead of you, and it's sometimes hard to even. When I was sitting there across from them, I thought, God, what was I even thinking about when I was 14? I don't know. I still sometimes don't know what I'm thinking about, but. I really think that's what it instilled in me, a sense of confidence. And I've had a lot of moments in the past, 15 years, almost 15 years since I've been at DS, where I really had to follow my instinct. And maybe it was like against maybe what my parents wanted me to do, or my friends, or what people thought was kind of the grain of kind of how everyone else was going. But I always felt comfortable and confident in listening to that voice.
That is amazing. It is. It's truly amazing. Was there a specific person or event that inspired you to start your own business? And oh wait, there's on the next slide. Oh, that's great.
This is literally. Oh my God.
Look at your shoes.
Those are like back in style, y'all. So like, I don't know what kind of 90s thing I was rocking here. Yeah, they're like. Oh my God, I'm so young. Oh. There's someone wearing a kilt. Casual.
So for example, like, did homecoming styles inspire you in any way?
Yeah, I mean, now looking back, maybe it influenced me in a way. Yeah, that guy's got frosted tips. Like, I don't know. I mean, I think something that always, even in high school, in college, and after, I think maybe I wasn't the person necessarily like doing the design. I feel like I'm creative, not necessarily artistic. But the thing I have always been good at is sort of curating and pulling things together. And at first I thought, well, I'm not a designer, I'm not an artist, so I can't like do something in that business because I didn't go to school for it. And that's the first question every interviewer always, said, like, where did you go? What design school did you go to? And I didn't. And sometimes you have to kind of like fake it till you make it kind of a thing. But I just had a confidence that I could, kind of allow myself to be creative and follow my gut. And so curation and working with the right people and finding great, I work with mostly women, and 95% of my audience is women. I mean, no surprise there, I guess, but, and it's exciting. So the question about who inspires me, I mean, really my biggest inspiration and the thing that motivates me the most is my customer. I hear from her every single day, multiple times, whether it's on Instagram or Facebook or through email or on the site, through our chat. It's getting to hear her stories, hearing from like first-time moms who are using the paper in their nursery, like that literally gets me out of bed in the morning. Like that, it makes me so excited that I feel like wallpaper is very nostalgic. I think if everyone like closed their eyes, they could probably think of wallpaper somewhere in their life. Maybe it was like at your grandmother's house or in your house now, or something that's really visceral and makes you feel, it's a certain way. And so I love hearing that new memories are being made with this thing that I'm creating. It really inspires and motivates me. And then also, obviously, my family. I get to work with my dad now because we obviously produce all the wallpaper here in Milwaukee. And it's given me a really special relationship with him that I certainly didn't have before. It's just, we're really in it together. He really cares. He's super supportive. And then obviously my mom and my sisters and my brother. So they're all the biggest influences in my life.
Could you describe your line of work in 3 unique hashtags?
Oh yeah, okay. Well, my first one is Peel, Stick, Love, which is like the chasing paper.
Good one.
It's, where everyone, they're hopefully using it when they get their orders, and then they can share on social media. I think the second one would maybe be like, long hair, don't care. No, and my third one would probably be, no, I had long hair in high school, and like I'll see people and they're like, you still have long hair? And I'm like, yeah, I cut it once, biggest mistake of my life, never do it again. And what would the third one be? 2 is good, right? Maybe I'll continue to think of one. 2 is solid.
I think it's good. Yes, and could you please choose one of these hashtags to explain more fully?
Yeah.
Which you already kind of did with your long hair.
That's true. And Peel, Stick, Love, it's my friend Katya, the Birchbox founder. In early days of chasing paper, I sat down with her and I was so stressed. Like, starting a business is no joke. You do not sleep. You want to cry all the time. You're bleeding money. It's so traumatic at the beginning. And she was like in it in Birchbox by this point. She just comes in. She just looks perfect all the time, I feel like. And I'm there like so nervous and just, stressed. And she was like, Elizabeth, you sell sticky paper. That's what you do. You sell sticky paper. And I was like, you're right. Like, it's such a simple idea. And I was making it into this really like monumental life or death thing. And it's like, it's sticky paper at the end of the day. And so that's where we kind of came out. It's peel, you stick it, you love it. That's it. End of story.
And you touched briefly on this already, but could you describe your daily routine of, I know you live in Soho, and that's really cool.
No, I live in Brooklyn.
You live in Brooklyn?
Okay, come
you
on. Give me a little credit.
I'm so sorry.
Give me a little credit. I'm not that fancy. So what do you like? What kind of routine? Like
beauty routine.
Oh my God,
with your long hair.
I mean, I guess there's some pressure in New York to like look a certain way or be a certain way. Again, I'm a DS girl. Like, I like working in my pajamas. It makes me feel at home. I try to put on real clothes when I go into the office. But that's the beauty of it, is like some days I have a great little coffee shop near my house. Sometimes I work from there, talk with the barista, hang out. my style, my personal style, actually it's funny, we have an exclusive collection with Bloomingdale's, and so they interviewed me for their blog. And I've given 100 interviews, and everyone asked me like the same questions, like chasing paper and the technology, and she was like, so what's your beauty regime? And I was like, what? Like, I don't even, what? I'm just very low maintenance. And then, describe your personal style and all these things. I've been kind of the same since I was probably your guys' age. I'm kind of basics and a lot of black. I live in New York, so I don't know. That's all I got on those questions.
That is pretty good.
Okay.
Now this next question is a little bit harder, and it's a little bit more personal, so no pressure if you don't want to answer it, but what is your favorite wallpaper pattern?
We talked about this before. It's like choosing a favorite child. I mean, there's so many that I love. There's so many that I feel a special relationship with. I have to say, we were talking about this at lunch, there's a new collection coming out on October 12th, set your calendars. It's an indigo collection, and it's pretty dope, so I'm pretty excited about it.
Is it first come, first serve, because I will be there?
Get on it, girl.
Okay,
Well, maybe we'll do
will.
a secret early bird sale or something.
Okay, we won't tell anyone.
Yeah,
they won't know. Okay. Do you have a favorite artist or trend right now?
It's a good question. I do have actually, in my line of work, and what I get to do is in creating the Chasing Paper designs, it's really like the best part of my job is getting to work with incredible designers and artists to create collections. When I started Chasing Paper, I would beg people to work with me. I would be pitching them, here's the reason why you should let me use or license your designs. Now I get hundreds of submissions a month, which is really honoring to me. It makes me feel sort of not worthy of that, because it feels like this great thing that people want to submit their work, and a lot of times artists' work is so personal and tells such a story, and sometimes I don't feel like I'm in the position where I should be the one choosing, but nevertheless I am, and it's a really great part of, I usually do it once a month where I go through all the submissions and then talk to people I would like to talk to. But for years I followed this artist. She's out of Brooklyn. Her name's Rebecca Atwood. So probably about a year and a half ago, I cold emailed her just because I'm really obsessed with what she does. She does textiles and beautiful stuff, all hand done in Brooklyn. And I mean, I was like a fangirl. I was just like, I love your work and whatever. And she emailed me back. And I'm so excited that we're doing a collection that's going to come out in spring 17. And it is truly, truly a dream come true. We did a photo shoot about 2 weeks ago, and I think it was, for me, one of the best moments aside from this right now, talking to you guys, because this is probably the highlight of my career right now. But that will be the highlight of my career when that comes out. So getting to work with her, I mean, it's really, really a dream to be able to work with someone that you have followed their career and you love their work and respect what they do and respect their process, and then get to create something together. It was incredibly special for me.
And we talked about this at lunch, but could you expand a little bit? Do you decorate your own apartment with Chasing Paper? I would.
Duh.
Yeah, I was going to say.
What do you think, I am crazy? Yeah, of course I do. Yeah, it's fun. I've moved a few times in New York, and so each time I just moved apartments in Brooklyn, so I got to start new, and I have this new indigo collection in my apartment, and I love how it looks. And yeah, I mean, there's always kind of the push and pull. You don't want to wallpaper literally every surface because you don't want to be like a crazy person. But what's really fun too is that every month when I get to do photo shoots, we really try to inspire and motivate our customer to not only use wallpaper on walls, but to do a lot of DIY projects. I showed some of the projects this morning in the class that I was talking to, and it's like, you can see kind of like a light bulb go off for people, like, oh yeah, you can use it behind built-ins, and that looks super cool. You can use it in trays or in the backsplash of your kitchen, or all these different kind of uses for it. And then once that ball starts rolling, people get really creative. A few years ago, a blogger who I love, she's become a great friend of mine, wallpapered her refrigerator, which sounds insane, but it looked amazing. And now if you type in refrigerator to Pinterest, it's like the first thing to come up because like the internet went crazy. It was like this ugly thing. A lot of people rent. This is probably like above what you guys are thinking because you guys aren't renting apartments or thinking about it yet. But you know, sometimes you move in and you have something that's really ugly, but there's nothing you can do about it. And this was like a way of like hacking that. And people love a hack, so.
I think we just found our new idea for the kitchen, Mom.
Yeah, there you go, exactly.
Could you, here are some pictures about you traveling. Could you explain a little bit?
So I've traveled to 38 countries. It is my biggest passion. I started when I was 16 with Madame Gleason. Is that here? Yeah. That was my first time out of the country. Went to France. And honestly, that trip like awoken something in me. Travel is my absolute biggest passion. I did semester at sea in college, so I went around the world. I did a lot of travel in Europe, and then, now don't get too many ideas, you guys, /do, but don't tell your moms that I told you this. So when I was 25, I backpacked Asia for almost a year by myself. I mean, I'm not recommending this to you. I mean, I am, but don't tell your mom that again. But so I did a lot of travel then. Obviously, it was when I graduated college, I worked for National Geographic for 3.5 years, and during that time they had like. Obviously, I was working in corporate sponsorship, so basically my job was working with photographers and explorers. It was a dream because I would get to sit in meetings and just hear about these unbelievable things that they were going out into the world to do and see. And I would then go back to my desk and be like, I want to see that. I want to do that. This is my young life, you know? And so after 3.5 years there, I worked for some really great women. I had 2 phenomenal women bosses who are still mentors of mine and I keep in touch with. And I just decided that it was my moment. If I was going to do it, it was now. And I bought a one-way ticket to Kuala Lumpur. And I mean, my parents were not happy. I mean, to say that is like an understatement. They were worried and scared and just thought I was insane. Most of my friends even were like, why? Like, why do you want to do this? This is crazy. And, you know, and again, going back to that voice, there was something inside me from the time I was young that wanted to go out and explore the world, to see things for myself and not see things in a context of like, we're going on a family vacation and we're having this experience, or, you know, you go with a boyfriend or you go with a friend. I wanted to have that experience, something that was just mine. And I decided to do it, and it was truly like the most incredible. I mean, obviously, so many experiences, so many stories, but and I think that time allowed, I don't think I would have Chasing Paper if I had not allowed myself to have that time. I mean, it was 7 months of hard going. I mean, India and Thailand and Cambodia and countries where it was hard going as a woman by myself, really hard going at times. But I just had to be strong and be confident and, you know, keep my boundaries and really have a good head on my shoulders. And also like being able to like take that risk, small business. And there's a great saying, and I'm going to get it wrong, but you know, a lot of times women wait for the perfect moment to start things. We think that everything has to be perfectly aligned before we jump into the pool. And sometimes you just have to jump. Like, things aren't going to be perfect. They aren't going to be right. You're going to make a million mistakes. When I think back on my first year of Chasing Paper, I mean, it's a disaster. I found an old business card from like the first iteration, and I was like, if someone gave me that business card, I would like laugh in their face. Like, it's so ugly. But you know, you have to make these mistakes because you just have to get in there and try it and start and learn by doing. And so I've traveled a lot, and someone that I really respect told me once that to be a true explorer or traveler, you should be to as many countries as you are years old. So I'm a few ahead now because I'm 32, so I've been to 38, but I try to keep it going and try to visit 1 new country a year. Just gotta stop clapping.
That's on my bucket list now, just so you know.
Yeah.
So I'll try to make that happen. Do you believe that DSHEA helped you prepare for college and traveling the world and the real world?
No question. No question. I remember getting to college and feeling Ask Madame, ask Mr. Grundy, ask any teacher here who, Ms. Weiss, I was not the best student at DSHEA's ever seen. It wasn't that I wasn't smart, it was just that I wasn't like super engaged. I didn't feel super academic. I just had a hard time with a lot of subjects. I had a hard time not wanting to like talk to my friends and be social and focus on the things that mattered. But I, over time have learned to kind of figure out and like harness certain, things that I'm good at and get help with the things that I'm not good at. And I think that having, having the great support system that I had here, having small classes, I always felt really cared for when I was at DS. I felt like teachers really knew me, and for better or worse, they would know if you aren't in class, which sometimes I wasn't, and I think that there really is something to that. I think I live in New York City. It's like I could go a week with no one knowing my name. It's a huge city. It's very anonymous, and it can be really overwhelming in that. But I come home to Wisconsin. Last night, my mom and I were out to dinner, and like 2 people held the door for me, and I was like, "What is going on? People are so kind here. They're so nice. They're not gonna like slam the door in your face, and you're like, ugh. Like it's just there's something about being from Milwaukee, being from the Midwest that I really, really, really hold on to, and that really I think for me started at DS.
So touching base on your route to success, what did it look like, and how is it different for each person to you?
That's a good question. Success is a really, really funny thing, and it's really honestly unbelievable for me to be sitting here right now and talking to you guys. This is like more success than I ever thought I would ever have in my life, period. And feeling like I have anything to offer you guys also feels like insane, because I feel like I was just in your shoes. I wasn't, it was literally like 15 years ago, but I feel like that. I feel like, let's like hang out after this, guys. Like, what are you guys doing? Like, I still feel so young. Like so success is a really funny thing. It's like constantly moving and changing, and what your ideas of success are. And I think for me, it's about letting go of looking at everything else around you. I don't know how you guys do it. I didn't even have Facebook or anything, or any Instagram or anything like that in high school. I think there's a lot of like tools now that we can like look at other people, like what are they doing? How much are they achieving? What does their life look like? Because now we're in tune with like what everyone's doing all the time. But for me, it's really been about like staying in my own lane and doing the things that really bring me joy and bring me happiness. Getting to work with really great people, or just being in magazines that I grew up, seeing and looking at, working with photographers that I've followed their careers. Like having those moments, I really try to just take it and cherish it. And because again, a lot of times, I live in New York, everyone's wondering like how quickly the business is going to scale, and are you at 10x, 20x, 100x, all these things of how fast you're growing and how fast, things are taking off. And it's hard not to get wrapped up in that. And then when I come home, I'm a single gal who lives in the city. I come home and my friends have kids and houses, and I think, oh my God, I have to keep up here too. And that's the thing, is like success is going to look different for everyone. And the sooner you can kind of let go of that and recognize that your path is really your path, and you wouldn't have the wonderful things in your life if you had taken a different road or tried to copy what someone else was doing just to keep up with someone else. It's been a thing, and it's something that I constantly do, and constantly am growing and continuing to better myself. So I certainly don't have it all figured out. So it's a work in progress, yeah, for sure.
With your success, what challenges have you faced in the business world, and what's it like being a successful businesswoman?
It's funny. I think the thing that's the most maybe frustrating is that when I tell, I'm just going to say it because we're friends. When I'm on a first date, guys will often write down like a business plan for me on like a napkin, like, oh, let me tell you what you should do with your business. People always want to like tell you what you should do. And it is, I wish that I was kidding, but I'm not. Like, I actually usually try to save the napkin, just as a funny thing to me, because it's a lot of times people just think as a woman in business that you maybe don't know better, or that maybe you need help in certain areas, or a lot of people say like, oh my God, chasing paper is so cute. And I'm like, the designs are cute, but like chasing paper is a business, like, and it's making money, and we were profitable before year one, like it's a business. And I think a lot of times people want to sort of make it into something that either it isn't, or that it's easier for them to digest. And on the other side of that is, when you're an aggressive businesswoman, sometimes that's taken the wrong way as well. You don't want to be taken, for something that you aren't. You just really want to be, I really want to be myself, which is like a nice Midwestern gal, and sometimes that works and sometimes it doesn't, and it can be sometimes hard to negotiate. But I think, Forbes came out with a statistic last year in an article that all women-owned businesses, and that means like that they didn't take any funding from a male-driven private equity firm or VC. Only 2% ever make more than $1 million, and that's a shocking statistic. And I think the reason is it's something that I spoke about before. I think a lot of people either wait till the perfect moment, or they get scared to really like dig in and be like, yeah, I'm going to be super successful, and like you're going to know about it, and I'm not going to apologize for it. And I'm gonna take what I think I can have and get. And I also don't need like the advice of some dude who I'm on a date with. Like, you don't even know me, like, or my business. So I think, again, just kind of really staying focused, staying in your lane, knowing what you want to do, what you're good at. And again, having people help you where you need help, because I'm certainly not good at everything. But that's been a big thing for me. It's just been kind of negotiating what it means to be a woman in the workplace. Also, we have a long way to go. Women are, not still being paid equally. We only still hold 15% of all executive positions are held by women. We've got a long way to grow. And like every girl in this room, like you guys are the perfect women to be into those positions and to fight for them and to say, like, I'm not stopping until I have it. And I would just encourage you guys all to just, you guys are, again, so young. You're probably not even thinking about like working and all that yet, and you shouldn't, because you're so young. But I think just knowing and having that confidence in yourself goes a really, really long way.
What? Yeah, I was gonna clap too.
I was gonna clap too.
What other pieces of advice would you give to young girls who are thinking about careers or thinking about going farther in their career?
I mean, I feel like I've been giving a lot, so I hope it's not too much. But it just really, like, I'm a dog with a bone with something. Like, if I put my mind to something, I will not stop until I get it. And I think it's the balance of, I'll tell a little story, a little anecdote. So when I first started chasing paper, I thought I had to go in and be a bad, I want to use a different word, but we're in high school, a bad something when I went into a meeting. And, I would try to be really tough and be like, no, I'm not, like, and I didn't even like know what I was talking about, so it just sounded insane. I'm sure people were like, what is with this chick? But so this is maybe in my first 6 months. People Style Watch, which is like, obviously a great publication, and I'd grown up reading People and People Style Watch. This editor called me and she was like, hey, I just was curious if you were able to send us some details about this paper, about your company. She was just really nice on the phone, and I was really busy, and she was like asking questions that you could just like find on the website. Like, she didn't really need to call me. And so I was kind of annoyed at first. I was like, yeah. She was just kind of fact checking. Anyway, she was like, by the way, I want to tell you, your website is so like pretty, and I just love what you guys are doing. And it's not for sure that you're going to be in People Style Watch. It's I'm going to have to pitch it to my editor. She was probably like my age or younger. And so then she started talking. Oh, I live in New York, and I just moved apartments, and we started chatting about what her design aesthetic was, and my defenses kind of came down. I stopped being annoyed. I stopped being like, I have other things to do, and we just like chatted like friends. I asked her about why she moved and where she's moving and what her design was, and I said, if you want to use some paper, I'll send you a discount code, whatever. And when I got off the end of the call, she was like, I just want to let you know I'm going to really advocate for chasing paper. And I was like, that's great. And it was just me being a nice person. It was me being myself. And sure enough, we did get in. And I really thought back on that moment of thinking like, my instinct was just to be like, yeah, okay, you know, this is just some fact checker, who cares? Let's just get the details sorted, and, you know, kind of being in that aggressive mode, like my time is important, and why are you calling me? And being just yourself, being kind to people. I mean, it's such a Midwestern value, and you guys probably are that way because you guys are probably being raised by great parents and in a great community like this. It goes a long, long way to ask people, how's your day going? How are you? What are you, like, you just had a baby, or you remember that, you send them something, you send a handwritten note. I mean, it goes a long, long way because so few people do it. And, you know, at the end of the day, people just want you to sort of care. They want you to, you know, ask how they are and have those sort of relationships. And I honestly have built my business. Again, I was at the beginning of this conversation, I said I, you know, email every customer, and it would be super, super easy to just do a stock email. There's programs that will just email people back for you like a robot. But you know what? They'll say, and they'll be like, oh, I had pregnancy brain and I just forgot to order this thing. And I'll be like, hey girl, congratulations. Like, tell me what's going on. Is it your first baby? What are you naming it? Blah, 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 blah. And then they're a customer for life. Just that little extra additional, like, you know, getting into people's lives, being friendly, being conversational. It's a big part of it. And I really try to always remember and, you know, keep my Midwestern roots intact no matter how many years I live in New York. People say you get hard living in New York after a while, but I come back regularly to make sure that that doesn't happen, because I don't want that.
So you've been featured in big publications like Better Homes and Gardens and People's Style Watch and Urban Outfitters. Yeah. I don't know about you guys, but I've never been featured in that I know of.
You should be. You should be, girl.
No, I don't think so. But so I was wondering, as a person who has never experienced that, what's it like being featured in those big publications?
I mean, I should, the polite thing to be like, oh my God, it's like so embarrassing, whatever. It is awesome. It is, there's nothing better than going to the newsstand or like a bodega in New York City and picking it up, and then like I tell the bodega guy, I'm like, I'm in this magazine! It is, I mean, you know, it, like, again, I probably should say I'm like a more demure answer, but it is awesome. It is the greatest feeling. And, you know, a lot of times things feel uncomfortable maybe at the time when you're like doing a photo shoot or you're speaking in front of a lot of people. I get like really nervous and I overthink things, and I think about, but you know, you just let yourself shine through, and then to see it come to fruition is phenomenal. It makes all the work, all the weekends and late nights and all that good stuff so worth it. It's a great payoff. It really is.
So how do you get the news out about chasing paper, like through social media? How do you use that as a platform?
It is the biggest, best tool. Instagram, I think, has changed the way that, I don't think chasing paper would be what it is without specifically Instagram. We obviously have it's really, I mean, and it sounds like insane kind of, but like I've made so many, this sounds so creepy, but I've made so many like friends on Instagram, like other influencers and different people, get connected with them, and especially all being in New York, it's like everyone meets up and gets together, especially in the design world, and it's really powerful. It's really, really powerful. I talked about this a little bit in my class this morning. It also makes you very, I'm sure you guys are this way too, it's like what you share and how you share is also very important. Chasing Paper has a very specific look and feel. Everything that we put out, the font, the colors, the photography, the light, all of these different components, I think about for every single item, even just just an Instagram post or a Facebook post or a tweet. Everything is important, and everything collectively creates something that people want to get in on. And if you create that, it's really like an effect that it's kind of a snowball effect, right? Like the more people know, the more people know. And like Lily was saying, having some really great brand partners is also a really great way to leverage that. I've worked with Urban for years. They're a great partner to us. Bloomingdale's is a great partner to us. West Elm. We're going to be working with One Kings Lane now. I mean, it's exciting, and those kinds of opportunities are the ones that you leverage, especially from a social media perspective. You know, I'm sure I don't need to tell you guys could probably school me in the world of Instagram and all that, but it's a lot of times kind of, you know, how you use it, not just using it. It's kind of the strategic side of it, but.
So do you mainly find your designs or artists with whom to work with? Do you find them on social media or? A lot of times.
And you know, we're lucky to be in a place now where we get to choose those opportunities a little bit more and start, you know, working with people who are at even a higher level than we are, which is exciting, and getting to work on some really cool custom stuff with, you know, companies that are in other categories. We're doing a lot of things with like fashion influencers and you know, in kind of a different sector, but that really makes sense for both of our businesses. So yeah, it's a lot of kind of figuring things out. My PR team handles a lot of it now, but yeah, especially at the beginning, I mean, it was all the time, just finding people and then going on and liking their things and seeing what their aesthetic is and kind of just creating a digital sort of, you know, connection, sort of. I mean, that sounds kind of crazy, but it's really true, and it's been incredibly beneficial for my business, like hugely lucrative.
Awesome. And the girls got a little bit of a snippet, but we have a quiz prepared, and it's a personality quiz, so it's going to match you with a chasing paper wallpaper.
Let's get into it. Let's do it.
Hopefully accurate.
Okay.
Okay.
How did you do this?
Research.
Okay.
Okay, so this is the first question. If you could pick a dress, which one would you pick?
I think D.
D?
Yeah.
I like that one. Alrighty, that's good. If you could pick a holiday.
This is hard.
I know.
I think Christmas.
Christmas. Being good thought. And pick a home.
Ooh. What do you guys think? Oh, I think I'm gonna have to go with A.
A?
A, yeah.
Okay.
I live in New York. I don't know. I think A.
If you could pick a celebrity.
Oh my God, it's so hard. A, right? You can't not choose Beyonce.
I was going to say one of these
and that
things.
hair.
Exactly.
Well, yeah.
And if you could pick a book.
Ooh, I think Tina Fey.
Tina Fey?
Yeah.
Okay.
They're very good. I'm so excited to see where this is going.
And pick your ideal Friday night.
What's happening in D? Is that like a house, like a rooftop party?
Yeah, like a.
I think D.
Okay,
D sounds good. I mean, sorry, E. I mean, E tonight.
Good.
Okay.
That's good. And if you could pick a form of.
Definitely D.
D?
Yeah, D.
Okay.
Definitely my bite.
Alrighty. Okay. So these are the results. And you had 3 A's and 3 D's, and it was matching with the black and white stripes.
I love that.
To be sleek and city chic. That's well fitting.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean,
you did great. This is good.
And then the B's are the turquoise star bright, and you take a breezier, more relaxed approach at life. I feel like I'm doing horoscopes.
No, this is amazing.
And mostly C's was the blush point blank, and that's like an old-time Hollywood glam, and known to be, as the name implies, straight to the point. And mostly D's was the black and white wild.
I love that. It's a bestseller.
I love that. I think I'm gonna get that from my room, right, Mom? Okay. So, and then the E's were the popsicle, and you're definitely a little silly and perfectly out there in terms of style.
I think we need to have this on the Chasing Paper website. Let's do it. I think we need to have this. This is so good. I'm sorry, like, casual genius over here. I mean, that was amazing. That was so thoughtful. I love that. Amazing.
I can officially tell my mom I'm moving to New York.
Yeah, it's happening.
So we have one last question before we open it up to the audience. But we had hired some models, and they had flown in from Paris Fashion Week for this shoot to show us a potential chasing paper pattern. And here they are.
Wait, I gotta take a picture of this. This is amazing. I mean, does it get better than this? No, it doesn't.
Yeah. They were hard to come by. We had to call them. We had to go through agents. It was
very
terrible,
professional.
But it was
very professional. Yeah.
Thank you. This is on a building on the Mediterranean coastline.
Looks like it. Yeah. It looks super European. Yeah.
And we were wondering if you are able, could you possibly design a DSHEA inspired wallpaper?
Duh. Yeah. It's happening.
Oh, good. Okay.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
So thank you so much. We're going to open it up to the audience in a minute. We have 1 minute. So are we going to open it up? Why not? Oh, okay. Okay, we are going to have 2 questions. People. It's so Mic's over, and the mic's over here, so come on up. Do you want
Come
to
on
pick
down. Yeah, go. I mean, I don't know.
some? Oh, you
Oh my God. We'll go quick.
Let's go, yeah.
Rapid fire.
Rapid fire, Susan.
So I was just wondering how many employees you have, and like, are you gonna do like summer internships for?
Ooh, I like that. Yeah, I like that. So I have 2 employees in New York, an assistant and then a designer, and then my production team is here in Milwaukee, so they do obviously the production. So it's still a small team yet, but growing. So yeah, maybe summer internships are a thing. Again, ask your mother if you can move to New York, but.
Oh
yeah.
Alright, I just want to start off by saying you guys did a great job. Lily, you're hilarious.
She is the best, like the actual.
My question was, what is the greatest challenge that you've had to overcome with starting your own business?
That's a great question. I think honestly, it would definitely be the amount in the first year where everything is personal. Like your life bleeds into your business, bleeds into your everything. It's so hard to separate yourself out. It's so hard not to be working like all the time and taking breaks or taking a vacation or just not taking things personally. Like if you get a customer email, which happens, that they've had like a bad experience with chasing paper, I mean, I would not sleep that night. I would feel so responsible for every single customer's happiness and every single customer experience. And it took me over a year to be able to let go of that a little bit and be able to say like, you know, when I turn off my phone or I'm going on a bike ride or I'm like living my life, that I can like turn my brain off a little bit. And it's been incredibly, incredibly helpful to like take a vacation and like go skiing for a day and just like not have my phone. I mean, that sounds crazy, but it's really helpful in just my personal happiness and personal well-being. Yeah, thank you.
Just to kind of reiterate what Lexi said, Lily, I love you a lot. You're absolutely hilarious. And Elizabeth, you're such a role model to all of us. And I think we're all like 100% looking up to you and we want to be you.
Thank you. Oh my God. I can retire now. I mean, forget it.
My question's kind of weird. So you said you work with like urban outfitters and like you decorated your apartment like with like your own wallpaper. Do you give yourself a discount?
I get it for free. Okay? Yeah.
Outfitters, you get a discount.
Through them. I do actually. I do. Yeah, and with Bloomingdale's and with West Elm. I mean, it's not as much as I would assume with the amount of work I do for them. I should be getting free stuff from them. But I get great perks. Like they are very kind to me. Like Bloomingdale's threw a big party when we had our launch, and it was like drinks and food and like things that I could never do for myself as a small business. So they take care of me in those ways. Or do like with Urban, they sent my photographer crush to shoot me and do that. Like, that's super expensive. And so I wouldn't be able to, and I would never be like, hey, photographer, come and shoot me in my office. Like, hey guys, like I wouldn't do that because I'd be like, no, let's just focus on the paper. And so those opportunities are incredible, really, really good. And sometimes, I was telling Madame Gleason when I was here, sometimes they're, like I worked with Le Bon Marché this time last year, and they flew me to Paris. So sometimes it really pays off, yeah.
Okay, so something that you've said that's really important to you is like being from the Midwest and like that kind of personal connection you have to customers, and like you love hearing about the stories and like the wallpaper, but also you seem to be very focused on like your success, especially like in New York, and like you say, like men write down things on napkins for you. But I wonder if you like feel that you face a choice in continuing this personal business that you've kind of cultivated, like a family business even.
Yeah.
Or if you think that in order to make yourself a lucrative monetary success, you have to like make that choice. I don't know if
First of all, amazing question, and very well said, very well put, very smart, very smart. And it's honestly something I struggle with almost every day. It really is. We were talking about it at lunch about, you know, right now it's important for me to be in New York. Just last week, like an editor will say, like, can you come and do something, or can you be on set for something? And it's important for me to be there and to be able to go and style things the way I want to have it styled, or you know, kind of create the Chasing Paper brand. But I mean, I come home and it's hard. It's a struggle. Sometimes it is. I love my life in New York, and I have wonderful friends and a great community in New York. But it's a real struggle for me personally, because I think that, you know, I don't see myself maybe forever in New York, and so it's a balance. But I know that right now where I am is where I'm supposed to be. Chasing Paper is only 3 years old, which is really young in terms of business and kind of where we're headed. But I think that there's going to be a tipping point where I have to be less in the day-to-day, which I am right now. And hopefully as the team grows, I can maybe have a little bit more autonomy about where I am personally. But excellent question. Really, really good.
Okay, so I was talking with some of my sophomore friends over there, and we wanted to know if you still have your old DS skirts and if they like had like special meaning to you.
Yeah, because it's a great Halloween costume. No, we do. We're 3 Reese girls. I have an older sister and a younger sister, and we had so many of those things. And they're still, actually, my little sister and I were talking about it last night. They are still at the house, but then we would steal them when we like go to college, because we'd want to like be a schoolgirl as a, who knows. Halloween. But yeah, but honestly, like seeing all of you girls in your uniforms today, it's like, it brings back such good memories. And I don't know, I think you guys all look fantastic. I think you guys all look so cute and great. You guys look great. I love my stuff.
So that concludes the assembly. I hope you had a great time, but you should get to class, ladies.